All right, Elliott Devils, how's it going? Happy Friday. Oh, here we are. It's December 8th, about 1:30 for me here in Austin. I was kind of digging up some things that I thought would be of interest to you guys. Right? So I'm going to start here with Bitcoin. Of course, I've got the weekly. Now, this is a chart from one of my senseis. This is James M., who really is a master of working with channels. So I've just left this on here. Now, I am in arithmetic. Right? I have a feeling he was... Oh, that's not what I want. I have a feeling he was using this in log scale, but I'm for the purpose of this initial starting point here. I don't need you in log scale. I want you out of log scale. So that's why that's there. This is a holdover from our. Well, I guess we can hide that from our last live stream. Now here we've got the halving. Let's see. I know it's April. I've got mid-April here. I don't know the exact date, to be perfectly honest. So I just split the difference somewhere in April 24. All right. So part of the reason I wanted to start out here on a weekly and take a look at this is, I've had some comments under the last couple of weeks. I think it was last week. It's the kind of comment I like. Right? It's thoughtful. It's intelligent. Right? It's an alternate view. So I thought I'd start here and. I guess I'll give you the alternate view here. But anyone who's watched any, I've done 5 years of doing this, right? No mystery about my bias. I'm a raging bull, have been through the whole move down, through COVID, through FTX, right? I continue to believe that years from now we'll look back at 70 like we looked at 20, right? That's just my view, right? Take it, leave it. But I am very open about my bias, right? I'm not trying to hide anything. Now, one of the reasons I want to start here is because in his, it was one of my subs. I don't think he's a member, but he's a regular sub. And his comment was in conjunction with apparently Bob Prechter is also bearish of Bitcoin. So, okay, now Bob Prechter, right? He's right. All due respect, here I will take the other side of that trade, and I'm going to build a case here. But as we look at this, the comment, right? And again, it wasn't a. I get a lot of stupid comments, but this was a thoughtful comment. So let me see if I can get, let's label it here. So the idea, and I guess this is somewhat in line with what Prechter has got. Oh, shit. Here, we're going to do this. Oh, here, we'll do it this way. I think you see this a little bit more clearly on the daily. Let's go to the daily here. And so many Elliottians, right, have struggled with this, right? How are we making this a 3? Is it a 3? Is it a 5? And this sub's comment was that we have this nice little triangle here that people are missing, right? Because when you come out of this right here, we get a clean 5, and the many times we've been through this, right? The idea was, well, okay, you can't get a 5 out of that, right? From the proposed 4. Well, again, it's not unreasonable to suggest that, perhaps it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of this, and we'll do the same thing, right? Bulls are counting this as 1, 2, 3. Bears counting that as A, B, C, and the premise being that it's A, B, right? After this, I think we can all agree we had quite the impulse there. This is A, and we're putting in the B here, and then we're coming down for the C, right? We might as well use the algo target. So that would suggest we're coming down towards 4,000 or 5,000. Well, again, I will happily take the other side of that trade. I mean, that's when I say that, it's not like I'm dismissing that this is not possible, that's just insane. It's just not what I think is happening here. So, but it's technically valid. So we can't completely ignore it as a possible path. We can't, right? So this is the top of the impulse. We need 3 to correct it. Well, now I think if you're dialing into this as a 5, that you're perhaps missing the obvious alternate here. And now maybe, again, I don't want to speak for the guy who was commenting, right? Maybe he's very aware of that. And his comment, as I recall, was that he's not as bearish as Prechter is, but that he thinks that many of us are missing the barrier triangle here, and then we got a drop. And then this is just, Jesus. If I'm not mistaken, I think he told me that, or he had that Prechter has this as a 1-2, which is just, it can't be, right? Prechter's been wrong many times, right? It's like most Elliotticians, right? Wave counts change, right? the expectation is that, Mr. Elliott Wave is always going to get it right. He doesn't. He got one very right in the 70s. And no, I digress. Okay, so if we're going to trade this as a 5, ABC seems like the better fit there. My view, right? Certainly, I could be wrong. Okay, so a lot of times people accuse me of never addressing the bear count. So that would be it, right? So target down here, let's call it 5,000. I would say that's I would say the odds of that are 10%. I think I'll tell you the truth. I think it's 0%, but let's not, let's allow for the possibility here. Now you look at that and you say, well, wait a second, wait. If we come up here to this golden zone, are we not going to have a golden corner? And what about that? So the premise here would be that we're going to go up, maybe tag this, right, as we continue here going into year end. Bitcoin, of course, has a seasonal tendency to rally, right, and do a pretty substantial pump in December if we're going to do that. And then we're going to start down. We're going to go down through the halving, and we're going to come down for this median line. We certainly can acknowledge that if indeed we get here and we get a golden corner, that has 80% probability of getting to that median line. Well, just be mindful of the fact that 80 is not 100. So while that is there, right, you don't want to use these blindly, but it's there, right? Those odds are in play, right? Now we're not there. I mean, you could call this a corner right here, right? It wouldn't be golden. My guess is we're going to get, well, my educated guess, how would I say it that way? We're going to get to that golden. You've got, the obvious supply zones up here, right? This you can make a case that since this is still here, not fully mitigated here. This, we could still do this, right? We're just tapping it now, and you could refine that right up to the pivot, right? So I think high probability that we get here and we tag, right? So I think we can all expect a reaction here. What I would not expect here is that we're going to just blow right through it. Again, anything's possible. But, I've been trading these for many, many years. I think very high probability we get a reaction there. Now, is it a reaction that sends it to 5K? I think not. But again, all due respect, let's consider these bearish counts. So there they are for those. One last thing I would put on here, is the alternate price projection. And we had looked at this from the bearish lens, right? If this is 1, 2, and we're going for the 3, right? Well, we've got the 1618, 175 inside the golden zone from the top, assuming I'm right on that. So this location up here, which would be more in line with this demand zone, pardon me, supply zone right here. The implication would be, okay, we're going to get in here and then we're going to roll over. Right? Well, trust me, I'm going to give you the bull case. Okay, so we're going to go up here. Very high probability we get a reaction here. Supply, technicals. That's enough, right? So that's the bear count. All right, so can't tell me I don't address it. Now, that said, let's go over to what I think is more probable, not inevitable. Well, actually, I think Bitcoin to well over, I'll just leave it at that, well over the prior high. I think a new all-time high is inevitable. Right, that's my opinion, though, right? So as we sit here looking at this one now, of course, if you're a bear, you're thinking A, B, C, right? If you're a bull, you're thinking 1, 2, 3. So here's that same level up here at 50K, 50 and 2, right? And here's that same, we can just bring these over here. Same, let's use the whole thing, right? The whole swing up, just waiting to be mitigated, right? So if we come up here, this would be a logical spot for this to go. And it looks like, despite the fact that it's a little tricky down here, and this has been, we've wrestled with the beginning here, often the start of Bitcoin, just like down here, is a bit of a struggle until you work with it, right? And it starts to reveal, it's still going. Okay, so we got to figure out how we're going to get an impulse into this. It does not look like we're done. Now, interesting, like we're just tickling the edge of the outer parallel here to the median lines. This is, I don't know that this can get much better. Put impulse sideways, accumulate, rip, right? So from the accumulation, right, from, as we've talked about many times, from the contraction, right? At this degree, you could call this contraction, right? We're going sideways, comes the expansion. It's law in the market. Right? It never fails. Right? There is no chart. Well, fuck. Maybe there's something that's gone out of business where you don't have consolidation leading to expansion. Now that expansion can be down, but I would put the TTM squeeze one of the top 3 indicators of all time because it's so consistent. Right? So well done. To the TTM. Oh shit, I'm blanking his name. Oh shit, I'm blanking his name. The TTM squid that's from Trade the Market. Jesus, God, I'm getting old. Can't think of his name. Okay, nonetheless, 1, 2 looks like we're ripping into a pretty nice extension here into the 5th. Here we go. Okay, so I do like this count, right? This also from James M, right? That he's great at solving the puzzle. That we worked out a leading diag here into it too, which gives us, this gets a little squirrely in here. Seriously, is there a count in there? Well, it's a WAG, right? You don't know. It's a wild ass guess, right? So W, X, Y. Seriously, I don't think it matters, right? So what does look good is that we come out of this and we get a push up and then we get a golden, right? So we come down here and now we get the roaring push out of this. So the idea that we go sideways, again, W, X, Y, try it really. I don't think you need to dwell on that. What I like here, though, is that we come out of this with a pump, right? We sweep the highs, right? So here, clearly, right? Early buyers, right? Then now we push, right? So that's the move I think that we want to pay attention to, right? That one right there, right? A, B, 1, 2, 1, right? That looks like the move to pay attention to. So as we look about, okay, a few things to notice. All the displacement, right? Fair value gaps. Now I'm on a daily, right? So some big, oh shit, do I have a fair value gap in here? Oh, I thought I did. I guess I don't. Well, it's all right. We can see them. Daily fair value gaps, right? Not to be ignored at the very least, right? So there they are sitting in here, right? So this is imbalance, right? What are the algos doing, right? What the algos are doing is they're doing one of two things. They're either seeking liquidity or they're rebalancing something. Well, so right now, what does it look like? If we start to come down, what will they be doing? They'll be rebalancing. If we do this, right? And we'd be rebalancing here and then seeking the liquidity here. Now, there's also liquidity down here. So we can't always assume that, of course, they're going to sweep the highs next. Careful about assumptions. I do think here with this good looking rip higher here and all of this displacement that we are due for a little, let's see if I can do it this way. We are due, so we have this big gap here. So if we come back on that, right, just standard ops, right, what do we be looking for here? Let's get you out of there. I might do it this way, right, where we've got this little pocket right here. Let's put that in blue here. So we've got a little pocket here for a candidate for the 4 to come in here. Here's the high probability zone. So we would be coming down into if it starts to fall, it's likely to roll right through the air pocket here and come down to the 38. So 38 would be a good spot for it. We will have filled this fair value gap, right? Now we'll still have one below. So if we start to come down further, well, then we'll have to, rethink it, relabel it, right? It's not. Remember, you've heard me say 10,000 times, an Elliott count is a snapshot in time. Right now, this looks like the right count. It looks like what we've got, right? 1, 2, 3, sideways 4, and we're impulsive again. Looking for the 5th of the 3rd. Well, pardon me, we're looking for the 5th of the 5th of the 3rd, right? As it would relate to the move off of the FTX low. 1, 2. We're seeking the 3. Now, there are some that have it even more bullish, which I acknowledge. I'm not ready to go there yet. It's too soon to think 1, 2, 1. Too soon. Now, here 127, it would be very shocking to me that Bitcoin would end an impulse here at the 127. Again, not saying it's obligated to go up to the 161.8, 175. It just would be surprising that we don't finish this like this. Right, so we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the kicker in the 5th. So it's an extension in the fifth to get up here and give us that third, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the geometry is kind of interesting here because if we're using the median lines here, right, we're just right on the edge. If we're using our Elliott channeling, so let me hide those. Oh fuck. Oh shit. That's what I want to do. Let's hide that. Bear with me. Hide. That's what I want to do. Right. So if we just off of the 1, 2, right, which is how we start. So we have the right price action here to suggest that we're impulsive, right? So we're blowing out of the initial 1, 2 channel going into the 3. Now we can't draw it yet because we don't have the 3. We don't know the 3 is there. But if I were planning ahead, oh fuck, come here, I'd do it this way. Oh, let's go ahead. Let's use it right about there, and that's James M's coloring because that's the holdover from the live stream where I end up with his charts and his coloring package. So 1, 2, here's the big, right? Now he loves a channel, right? And for an Elliottician, channels are critical to your technical analysis, right? It's how we identify the third. Are we blowing past the 1, 2 channel? Yes, we are, right? So we know we have an impulse. Okay, so we're in an impulse. Now, again, as I started, this could be 1, 2, or pardon me, A, B, C. They sure look a lot alike. How do you know the difference? You don't. The only thing that would give you clues is context, right? So that's back to where we started. Oh, shit. Over here, I think this is where we started, right? Does this, if it's A, B, C, I am as wrong as I could possibly be. If it's A, B, C, well, shit. I suppose we could have a W, X, A, B, C into a Y, right? So it could play out a couple of different ways, right? A couple of different ways. We can't eliminate those. It's just not what I think is happening. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to guess most here are going to be looking for. We'll share my bullish enthusiasm, right? Now we could be wrong, right? So just, let's be mindful of that. Let's not be reckless with our trading, but these are all very encouraging signs that we've got a good looking impulse underway. Now we don't know until we see what happens here. Right now, this would be ideal to come right back to that initial channel, right? We don't always get perfect playbook, but that would be about what you'd expect. And then I would anticipate that 5 could kick pretty high as well, maybe the 2, 6, 1, 8. But now we're at 65. We're pushing the all-time highs. So 1, 2, 3 to the high probability zone, 4 back to the 38, push up for the 5. We could go 2, 6, 1, 8. Now note here, I am in arithmetic. So we're not getting a squeeze below to make this look prettier, right? I mean, this is, again, I would give this very high odds that this is the road we're on. Now, of course, shit happens, right? And this could change, but as it sits right now, that's where I think we're going, right? So hot box target would be right up here. So 65, 67, something like that. If we get close to this, right, we all know, everybody on the planet knows there's going to be a bunch of stops up here. So maybe we fatten that up. Sweep the high, bring it back. Should we be that lucky? Well, of course, the premise would be that if we complete the impulse in this fashion here, we're going to be due for a correction. Right, so if we pull all this off now, having given the rationale as to how it gets there, well, then what would you anticipate off of that? Well, another thoughtful comment from another sub. I don't think he's a member, but that Bitcoin is notorious for challenging twos. They're either too deep or too shallow, right? That they're often not as accommodating as we'd like to see between a 50 and a 618. Could we come back to 39.40 from 64? Well, they're going to need to be a good reason for it, rather than just, oh, well, the market's supposed to. Oh, well, we've been up here, right? So how are we going to do that? Well, that's a common path, but that would be surprising. We'd go that far down. We shall see. Okay, that's enough on ETH or on Bitcoin. Let's go over ETH. I think is the more challenging, but also I think this is where we can draw some conviction in the count being we're in an impulse, not a correction, because we look here. There is, I think, there'd be very little dispute that this is a 3. Right, so unlike Bitcoin, where okay, maybe we can squeeze, maybe a little triangle, and we can kind of squeeze into an impulse here that would be more reasonable. Here, I think that's you're your bearish bias is affecting your view of the market here. I think this is clearly a 3, and we've come off of this impulsively. Impulse, correct, impulse, correct, impulse. So I think this adds a little bit to that. Now, of course, again, no obligation for the market to do anything, right? They don't have to move in lockstep. They just tend to always do it, right? Is that going to change? Maybe. Let's get in here a little bit. I think this is really a challenging count because particularly coming out of this, right, we keep going. So this is just some work I've done on this 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, okay, so here was all the consolidation before we have just now started to break out of that. Now we're looking pretty good. 24 here, golden zone up here. That is from the secondary pivot, and that is coming in about 2600. We'd be looking for. So you can see the roadmap right up for the 5. Would complete the 3, right? Then the expectation is there's another correction. We're going up for the 5. But remember, while we might break this one, the one that matters in terms of getting clear skies and no resistance is this one here at 3,400. Now that seems like, whoa, 3, 4. Could we get that high? Well, no reason we couldn't, right? We'd do something like this and then push up for that 5. What would that be? Likely the 3. But take note, if it's 1, 2, 1, 2, that's the 3, 4, 5. Looking for the 3, right? I know we're getting a little porny here, as in bull porn, but that's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen, right? So I'm sorry if it's too optimistic for you, but don't miss it, right? If this starts to come, right? So if you want to be conservative, trade conservatively. But right now, it's hard to argue with the trend. So to fight it, that's trading 101. Right, we don't fight the trend. We try and run with it. So now this gets really tricky in here because of the extensions here. So all I've done here, there's some difficult Elliott I mean, some of these, right? Okay, say 1, 2, 3 sideways, right? I don't really care what that is. I come out of it. All I see is the consolidation. Okay, I'm not progressing the trend. Likely the 4, 5. Now this is where it's really a clusterfuck. What A, B, C, W. I really, again, not to be discounting the Elliott here, but it's such a chop slop mess, right? That I look at it and go, okay, where do we come out of the slop, and where do I get some clarity? 1, 2, working on 3, looking for 4, 5 to come out of here. Then, okay, so really I've got consolidation here, but it doesn't look like a 4, right? It doesn't quite fit to play as the 4. Because we'd be leaving this, go, oh, well, that's inconvenient, right? I need this to be the 4, and there goes the 5. Well, this is relatively shallow for a 2 here. We can't call this a combo, right? We can't have or we can't call this a triangle. So I even looked at A, B, C, D, E for the 4, but I got a 4 back here I got to deal with. So this seems a reasonable, let's call it a primary, until proven otherwise, right? So I look at this and go 1, 2. All right, looks like the 3. Elliott oscillator supporting that idea. Well, here's the big push. And look, it doesn't look like we went that far, but look at the momentum that was there. RSI and the Elliott oscillator. That looks like that's my 3, 4. Now it's subtle, but right, it's a little bit of divergence, right? So it's not as hot here. Sideways, squeeze, right? Now looks like we're going again. So if this is the 1, 2, this looks like 3, 4, 5 of 3, right? So we could be topping here, 1, 2, 3, 4, working on that 5. Looks like it might have a little bit more to go before we start that. Vegas wave has flipped, right? Now this is a 4 hour, so we have a 4, so 233 is underneath the Vegas wave. Coming out of this consolidation, accumulation, accumulate, expand. Cause, effect. All right, how am I doing? 24. God, it's so hard to do these faster. Okay, here's the one I think we ought to pay attention to, right? Because of course, rates are moving markets, and the markets are certainly paying attention to where the rates are. So now we've had a little pullback here. So the push off of the low it's a little tricky down here, but it looks like we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is deep for a 4, but again, I've got to deal with the 2 and then clearly an impulse here. 1, 2, 3. So here I have the 3, 4, 5. Now the channeling is quite good here. So I've got a sliding parallel on this. So all I did was clone it and just take it up, right? Which is a nice way to expand your channels. And look how beautifully we catch it. So 1, 2. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 3. Do I have the Elliott oscillator? I do, right? So here's the 3 of 3. All right, here's the 5 of 3 right here. So here's the 3, 4, 5, right? 3, 4, 5. Then we go up. Here's the big 3. Here's the 3 of 3, 4, 5, right? Divergence. Now we go again, right? Where's the biggest push here? 1, 2, 3. Looks like we've got all that divergence that you'd look for. Right, that's all we're trying to do here is to say, oh, are we topping here? Well, looks like we might have a start on a correction here. So looks like the 5 could be complete. Oh, perhaps 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That looks very 4-ish. So it looks like either a 1 or an A is underway here. So let's just go with 3. Looks like this is 4-ish, right? 5, right? A, B, C, perhaps to come down lower. All right, so if we're correcting here and bonds and rates are going back up, so that might influence the Bitcoin count, right? So maybe that contributes to the push up, and then the retrace here. If bonds are going to retrace, right, going into next week, we'll see, right? But you got to pay attention to what's happening with rates, right? Because Bitcoin and all of crypto responds accordingly. All right, now I got a little cluster here of some 3 alts here and total 2. So no surprise, it's going to look very much like Ethereum. This is alts minus Bitcoin. So again, I would suggest that's easier to do here. I guess you could do it here, right? So you have the potential. Let's get this out of log scale. You have the potential. I don't. That's not what I think, right? This looks still like it's 3 to me, but you could make the case it was A, B. Pardon me, 1, 2, 3, all kind of the same thing. 4, 5, kind of rumbles down here as we double. Okay, there it is, right? If you want to play the bear count, there you go. I think you're going to regret that. But okay, so 1, 2. Now this gets a little trickier in here. At least classic Wyckoff, right? We get. Here's the preliminary supply over here. Here's the push, automatic rally, test, right? We don't get a spring here. There's 2 schematics, right? You don't have to have a spring. Let me get into log scale. It's kind of interesting here. As we come out of this, certainly looks like accumulation. So we push up here. If this is 1 and we go A, B, C, or W, it doesn't matter, right? If we go 1 A, B, C, let's call this the 2. Look at the little wicks right at the golden zone, right at that pivot swing, right on the edge of high volume of the volume node here, and then we come out of it. We launch, right? So here's the push. Now this needs to get some legs if we're going to keep going here to push up and then come back, maybe test from above. It could be anywhere in this range, right? We'd actually, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit deeper, right? For the better opportunity for a bull to get in here or to add to your position. Looks like we're approaching a top. We have lots of imbalance here, as we can see over here where we just went down. This is FTX, right? So all of this is just wide open. There's no resistance here, right? So remember, right? Algos. What are the algos doing? Right? They're doing one of 2 things. They're either rebalancing something or they're seeking liquidity. Well, first we got to rebalance. Where would the liquidity be? Well, the obvious upside liquidity is on the daily, sitting right up here. So that's a target. Oh, some of this. Well, at this degree, right? Let's stay with the major swings. Obvious up here. 1, 2, right? Likely not 3. So you start to do the math on that, and it gets to be like, oh, okay, well, that's likely not 3. So if we're going to get a 2 out of this, all right, let's just use the pivot here, and let's use this triple. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we bang that level at what do we got here? Rough 490 roughly. Well, if that's 1, right, where would we find the 2? We'd be looking for the 2 down here. That's where we'd look for. It doesn't mean the market's going to deliver it, but that's what we'd be looking for a 2 down here to be able to buy. Oh, I've got, that's why that looks weird. That's got, I don't want logarithmic there. That's what I got. It's doing something. Let's reset. I don't want. Oh, pardon me. I'm thinking I'm looking at ETH, right? And it's a total 2. My bad. Sorry, guys. The brain fart. Okay. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So we can't trade this, but we can use this as a proxy for. I mean, it's certainly very close to Ethereum, and just our alt's likely to fly. Right. Well, if this is 1, 2, and we're gonna get the retrace here in total 2. 3, 4, 5. Right. It all looks like it's likely to come. Okay. Now let's get over to, I've got 3 of them here, and a lot of times I get these ideas. If you guys are not familiar with it, I would assume many of you are. It's a really high quality site, and that's AltFins. It's in our link tree down below. If you look under the TradeDevils link tree, if you wanted to, I don't know, I guess if you're subs, right? If you want to support the channel, that's a nice way to do it. Use our link, but no, it's your choice. We don't do a lot of hard promoting here, but that would be a nice way to support the channel if you're not in the membership. Okay, so I've got, these all came from AltFins, right? They do some great, a combination of technical and fundamental research here. So these are 3 ideas that are on their hot list. So this is stacks to the dollar tether, or pardon me, to the US dollar on Coinbase. So I've got a pretty good looking pump, a decent 2 here, it's technical. All right, so we come up here. Right to the golden zone, so we know, right, there's not a question mark whether Al's in here. He's in here. 1, 2, right? So nice channeling. So we're still in the initial 1, 2 channel. Looks like we're coming out of here on perhaps a 1. Looks like that's your 4. Well, that could be 2, right? So 1, 2, working on 3. That's a daily. Targets for 3 are much higher, actually. All right, if we're going to get a true third here and get a 1618, we're coming from the golden zone, so we know this will be the 1618, right? That's not hard to anticipate. So that would put us up here close to $8 from 60 cents. All right, so the attraction, of course, right, as we all I think are all aware, right, if we get a crypto bull, right, the percentage returns are going to be best in the alts, right? That's why people trade alts, so they can buy more Bitcoin. Okay, so we'd have 1, 2 working on 3, right? So could be we're into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That's what we'd be looking for. Oh, it's going to white here, right? 1 seeking a 2 down here. 1. Don't know that the 1 is done yet, right? So we've got a clear algo target here. So that would be 1, 2. If we could go up and get the algo target here, and then start the retrace into the 2 before we go 3, 4, 5, would be a great start. So that's one to keep on your radar. Stacks to the dollar. STX. Oh, what else have I got here? Let's do Arbitrum. Oh shit, I don't know how to say it. Same thing, right? It's playing pretty good Elliott ball here, but it's doing it as a leading diag. ABC, 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 AB. We're gonna get a C here. Oh, that could be the A going in. But got a clear target here. This is nicely technical. Right out of a demand zone here. In the pocket. So we overlap the 1, so thus we're the thought being leading diag. You're stuck here because you've got a 3. Oh shit, I suppose you could do if you don't like that, you could do the 1 here. A, B, C. It's not a great looking impulse in the 3rd though. We might be able to get it. Yeah, no, we don't get a great looking impulse there. 1, 2, can't get an impulse, right? This would have to be the 4. This is 1, right? We can't go 1, 2, 3, 4. It would not be done, right? So it plays better as an ABC. So back to this, I think, is reasonable until forced to change it. Now, the kicker here is that if it's going to play as a leading diag, we need fifth to be longer than third. So minimum target right here. It's not my favorite of what we're looking at here, but this looks like this could be a leading diag of the A of the fifth, right? So this might come out a little further, right? So that's one, right? Definitely worth keeping on your radar. And then CFX. What do I got here? I'm over on BitGet here, our sponsor. So I don't have all the history here. Here's the 200, the God MA, 200 SMA EMA. So I don't have enough history here, which is why I put the 50 on as well. But we can see, right? So we're above the 200. We're starting to rally here. 1, 2 looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. There'd be one more kick there. Let's go to a 4 hour here. It looks like a decent start to an impulse. Oh, A, B, the fuck. Yeah, we could do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like that's underway. 2, 3. Now we don't want that going too far, but we just did come down and split get the 50 there. So of the range that we're in. So here's the swing low, swing high, right? So if I get right on it, here's the 50% of that. I'm not right on that. Right, so here's premium discount. We just came in and we tickled the edge of that. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the 50, to the 50 and the 50 EMA. One more kick up to the fifth. So I think that's a potential opportunity right there. Right, now we don't know for sure that we're done, but if that's 1, 2 and we start to go here, you'd be looking for something like that. Could come right back here to the supply and finish it up here. Oh, we have the edge of value here, so I just drew it from swing high to swing low, so we kind of look, and I highlighted the high volume nodes where we might anticipate the market to react. So coming up here, and we see clearly, right? There's a lot of trading, a lot of agreement right here, right here. Here's the POC. Here's the next high volume node. Right? Could we come up 3? Right? We don't know. Right? 3, 4, 5. All right, edge of, we got this huge cluster over here, right? So just pretty obvious, hard to miss it. So, okay, supply up here, 3, 4, 5. Come up here and get that, then expect the 3 down. Do we get it? All right, repurchase down here. We got a little high volume here, structure, off we go. Right, and that would be the big one. 1, 2, big 3. Did I get everything covered? I think I did. Okay, 37. That's not terrible for me. That's actually better for me. Okay, so I got everybody covered here. Aside from the little brain fart here, I do think this is one to keep an eye on. Accumulate, 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 accumulate. Looks to me like that's what we did here. Accumulate. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Oh, let's put it here. Let's finish with this. Accumulate, rip, accumulate. Total 2, right? Accumulate, rip, accumulate, rip. Could it rip down? Yeah, I could. It's just not what I think is going to happen, right? So it's a great opportunity time. If you're a crypto trader, this is what we all waited for. We sat through all of all of it, COVID, FTX, all of it. Right, the faithful, if you will, are about to get rewarded. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. Back next. Oh, actually, I'm not back. I'm out of town on Wednesday, so I'm hoping to have one of my team sit in for me on the live stream on Wednesday. But members, you'll get an update, and YouTube subs, something will be happening. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. We'll catch you next.